Yeah. Oh, yeah. What's up, SMT Nation? Happy Wednesday evening. Or Wednesday night, or Thursday morning, or Thursday evening, whenever you're watching this. What up, y'all? You guys like that music? That's from Tana So Lit. Sound good? All right. You guys know I need an audio check. You know I need a video check here in a second. Just let me know that there's no crackling sounds. Audio is, solid, loud enough. Most important thing, though, music's got to be hot, though. Always. Brought to you by Tana So Lit. Turn it up. Yeah. Thanks for the feedback. Appreciate you guys. Let me know that my audio is good. Thank you so much. I do see some peeps are already here. You guys are flooding in, making it here for the show. Appreciate you. Man, the CLE is fantastic. Appreciate you, Dan. Where is Cesar? That's what I want to know. My brother Cesar, if he's here. We got Kimon, David, Kazi, and Pete. Hashtag Mod Squad. Appreciate you guys being here tonight, holding down moderating duties. Thank you so much. I see Joshua, Gregory. Appreciate you guys as well. My brother Keon is here. Hashtag SMT Patreon. Thank you for your continued support. Brennan is here. Sebby. Appreciate the both of you. Joey is here. Welcome to Joey, one of the newest members of the Patreon community. Appreciate you very much, and we're glad to have you, man. Welcome to the community. We got Barry in the house. We got Fabrizio in the house as well. That's right, Pete. That's right. It's not a dead guy on the tower. It's I don't know, it's like a T-Mobile tower crew working on a tower site or something. What's up, Moose? Good to see you, man. Alright, y'all. Hopefully I'm not clipping or anything. Hopefully everything is good. Alright. Totally Techno Tim, what's going on, sir? Clinton is here. Jarrett. Timbo. Yeah. Moose, what did you just link? Sound is amazing. Great. Thank you. It's exactly what I wanted to hear. All right, we're ready to go. I think we're all set. Let's get this show going. Let's fade out that music. Thank you, Mr. Music. And we're here to start the show. All right. We got a lot to talk about this evening. Several items, and I want to make sure I get to everything, so I don't want to stall and waste too much time. So to get things going, I would like to ask that you please give this video a like. If you're watching this on replay or if you are watching this in the live, give this video a thumbs up. Share it if you have social media, family, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, the whole shebang. You can share it to Reddit. Just don't share it to the T-Mobile Reddit. I do not want my videos anywhere near there. Please keep my content away from the most toxic community on the internet. No, thank you. I'm good. But I appreciate the thought. But you could share it anywhere else. The Verizon Reddit, the AT&T Reddit, the Sprint Reddit, if there's still one. Right? I know they probably hate me there too anyways, but whatever. You can share it to any Reddit other than the T-Mobile subreddit. In fact, actually, my videos get shared a lot on Glowing Circles. All right, that community there, they're pretty awesome. They've nominated me for a couple of things before, so big shout out to whomever is making those decisions out there. And big shout out to Fabrizio. Thank you for that donation, sir. Buonasera, if I said that right. You know, some of you guys got some guts to come up into my live stream. And the things that you say about me. This Novice 4 gaming. You know, I really don't even want to give you the shine, but I need to say something to you. You have said some pretty nasty things about me. I really don't know why you're here. Yeah, I don't think you should be here. You don't fit this community. This is a community of positivity and good people. You don't fit. Go back to the hole you crawled out of. Good evening. Appreciate you, Kimon. Thank you. So what we're going to do today is we are going to discuss some Verizon news that I think is a big deal. The scale of that deal is going to be tremendous. It's going to be something that a lot of you are going to see, witness, and experience. I'm going to do a couple of PSAs, some public service announcements. A little bit about Visible, some CBRS. And the iPhone. Yeah, absolutely, Dan. They have no idea what I'm capable of. You know, these people, you know, they troll on the internet. They have no idea what real life is. You know, they talk slick. They call people names. They try to slander people, you know, assassinate people's character, and then they want to come around like it's all good. They would, in real life, my friend, they would be destroyed. They just couldn't cut it. You know what I mean? Life would chew them up and spit them out. But they hide behind their monitors and their keyboards, and you know what I'm saying. Where the real world would chew them up and spit them out. And that's why it's important to be a good person. You know, do right by people. Be good. Be a good person to others. So we got those Verizon news. I got some C-band news for you, some updates. It's trending big. I was caught off guard a little bit by this because we thought it was actually trending down a bit. Turns out it's back trending up. A little bit of a seesaw, but there's a couple things I do want to disclose about it that I think we need to discuss, and I'll bring that to the forefront. What else do I got? Oh, the T-Mobile prepaid data-only plans for tablets and hotspots. We'll discuss that. That's pretty big. It's pretty big news. Looking forward to seeing if people are going to be able to take advantage of that. Taking advantage of, you know, the high capacity that, you know, Neville and his team and T-Mobile is claiming that they'll have. So that's what it's for, right? That's what the merger was really all about, those synergies, right? Mm-hmm. And then we'll talk a little bit about Neville Ray's insights for 2021. It looks pretty bright. 2021 is going to be a big year for T-Mobile. I feel like the reason it's going to be a big year also is because the fact that Verizon can't really do much. Like they could deploy more CBRS outside of the unlicensed variation. They can deploy the licensed version as well at some point next year. And then, of course, millimeter wave will continue. They'll put their pedal to the metal, as they say. And driving around the CLE doing some testing today, they are absolutely relentless. They are putting nodes everywhere. It's just every time I go downtown, every time I go through these cities and these neighborhoods, these suburbs of the CLE, they're just putting the nodes all over the place. They don't care. There's a lot of people that question the strategy. You can't put a millimeter wave node everywhere. Well, don't tell that to Verizon. They're going to try. They don't care about how you feel about millimeter wave, and they don't care about your personal feelings. They are going to continue to build out millimeter wave at a blistering pace. And I think they know the capacity is there, right? They They found a way. They got the deal with Samsung to make the nodes a little bit cheaper to produce and install. So, yeah. Oh, yeah. Appreciate that, Fabrizio. Thank you. Means good evening in Italian. Thank you. I appreciate that. He said, buenos sera. Okay. Or, buona sera. Okay, thank you. I'm doing good, Bobby. Good to see you, man. Hey, Barry. Absolutely. You can. Absolutely. Man. Yeah, those millimeter wave nodes. No relenting. It's going to be great. What do we start with, man? I mean, that stuff is just all over the place. I don't know. Let me just pick a topic and just go from there. All right, let's start with the C-band piece. This is an update on C-band. When did we start? Last week, Tuesday. So it's been, 8 days of auctions. Okay. 8 days of auctions. As of yesterday, the C-band auction, Spectrum Auction 107, we've got 280 megahertz of 3.7 gigahertz mid-band 5G gold on the line. It's a huge, huge auction for 5G. Massive. All right. It was a landmark day as of yesterday. The C-band auction broke the double-digit mark. They hit $10.5 billion in proceeds. Official at the time of Tuesday at the end of the last auction round, December 15th. So that puts them at 20 rounds of auctions. We're at 12 cents per megahertz pop at that rate. There's something that's important to note here. And having this discussion with my cohorts and kind of looking at some of these different numbers and what it represents. And I'm kind of starting to get the impression that the carriers are willing to pay top dollar for C-band in certain places. And they're not willing to pay for it in other places. So I'm beginning to kind of shift my thinking. I really thought it was going to be a national thing. I really thought Verizon and AT&T and to a lesser extent, T-Mobile's going to fill the gaps. But I really thought it was going to be a mostly national deployment from the big two. I think I might be wrong. And looking the way that these billions are being spent in certain parts of these rounds and this auction, it looks like they're being a little bit more selective. They're paying top dollar for the critical licenses in the big markets. So of the top 50, that first round with, block A being the spectrum that can be deployed, year number 1, 2021, starting in December. The winners are going to have to pay some additional fees. So I kind of knew about this before. The satellite operators that are decomming the C-band that was being operated as, satellite, they've got to decom that really quickly and accelerate that decom. They're being rewarded handsomely. It was estimated that decom process was going to generate an additional $8 to $12 billion for Viasat and the other companies that were using the C-band. And it looks like that number has actually accelerated, and it's moved up to 13 to 15 billion. And it looks like the carriers like AT&T and Verizon and whomever else is bidding, they're very cognizant of this, and they're being very careful about how much they spend and how much spectrum they bid on. So it looks like their spending is actually a little bit more cautious than I once thought. So the 12 cents per megahertz pop is a number that was indicative at the end of, the day yesterday. But when you kind of build in that additional cost of 13 to 15 billion for relocation and the accelerated decom and then the recom, this changes the price per pop from 12 cents per pop to 22 cents. So that almost doubles it. And I think the carriers understand that. So they're being a little bit more hesitant and reluctant to just willy-nilly bid on spectrum that is already quite expensive. So these A-block licenses that are going to be available in that first 100 megahertz of the 46 of the top 50 markets, they're already paying 50% more of what the spectrum was expected to be worth. I mean, New York City ladies and gentlemen, generated $1.3 billion in proceeds in the auction. Hi, Jessica. New York City generated $1.3 billion by itself. That's one city. LA, $1 billion. Chicago, $500 million. And that's just thus far. I don't know if there's any more licenses in those places. I have no idea. But that was as of yesterday. I mean, I'm pretty sure that New York City had a couple of licenses that sold or had bids of up to $16 million alone. I feel like LA had a couple for like $12 million each. It's crazy. Anyways, because of that whole like decom, the accelerated decom process, I think the carriers are being a little bit more selective than we once thought, because the spectrum is at a premium, and then the decom process being accelerated is going to cost them more, and then you got to build it out. There's just a lot of cost associated with this whole C-band thing. So I think the carriers are actually going to be a little bit more choosy about what they bid on and where they deploy this. I don't think it's going to be as national as we once thought between Verizon and AT&T. So in terms of geographical footprint, throw national out the window. Are they going to meet some kind of like national criteria based on population numbers? That's possible, because 80% of the population in the U.S. live in big cities. So maybe it's national in terms of like the number of people, but it's not national in terms of footprint. There's going to be a lot of places, huge extensive regions that don't have C-band. So I don't know. The most recent numbers at the end of the day today has the auction at $15 billion. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been 8 days of auctioning. We are at over $15 billion. A lot of people were saying that this auction was going to exceed $45 billion. I figured it was going to be close. Some people speculated it was going to hit $50 billion. After the first couple of days, I thought that was possible. Then it kind of dipped a little bit and it slowed down for a couple of days. And now it's up again. All this tells me is that $50 billion is still possible. I think $40 billion is all but guaranteed. 45 is probably more realistic. This is going to generate a lot of revenue and a lot of money. But the way that is auctioning, if you look at the days, how some days it's like 1 billion or 2 billion, and other days it's like 500 million. There are certain cities, there are certain markets that are being like, I mean, they're paying a premium. Verizon and AT&T are willing to cut each other's throats for these spectrum licenses in certain markets. I'd love to be a fly on the wall in these auctions. I'd love to know which markets they are and so on. I mean, we know New York City, Chicago, right? LA and all that. But like moving forward, at some point, I think those markets are done, right? They're moving on and they're auctioning other cities. But man, I would love to see it. But I think, and I could be wrong. I mean, I'm not there, right? We don't get official word. A lot of this is just, speculation and me guessing, trying to put some pieces together, But honestly, I think that we're going to see some absolutely tremendous channel sizes in some of these markets, and they're going to need it. For example, if they're willing to pay all that for those New York licenses, that tells you how important it is in New York. The capacity is hard to come by, And there is no other auction with this type of spectrum in the near future. This auction's got 280 megahertz. The next one is going to have 100. So, this is big. There's a lot on the line. All right. All right, so that's the first story. I just wanted to emphasize that, give you an update on how much money was spent. And the other piece to this is I think it's not going to be as national in terms of footprint as we once thought. Expect Verizon and AT&T to spend a lot of money. I still think Verizon is going to crack $15 billion. I still think AT&T is going to crack $10 billion. I could see T-Mobile spending a couple of billion. I could see Dish spending a couple of billion also. Maybe 3 or 4 billion. Oh, Sebby, I know, right? Dish. Actually, let's talk about Dish. We have to. There's actually a piece of news we need to discuss about Dish. Dish is actually putting up some big money. They're looking to free up money and generate some revenue because they are taking this 5G network build thing pretty seriously. They are looking to generate $2 billion. And what they're doing with this $2 billion is they're going to use it as funding for general corporate purposes. And this does include their 5G network build-out costs. So what they're doing is they're generating $2 billion in convertible notes. So they've got this like big push and initiative that they're doing now on the corporate side. Settlements will be made in cash and shares. All are negotiable at the time of the established deals. So that's ongoing right now as we speak. I found that story. And looky, what we have going on right now, we have the C-band auction. And that's telling. I think this means something. I think they're looking at CBRS in December. I think they're looking at the C-band, you know, and then there's a couple of auctions later, of course, for sure. So, you know, yeah, Dish is doing the network thing. Zero Cooler F has had his doubts. A lot of people have had their doubts. Adam, Mr. No Radio, we've talked about this. There's a lot of doubts about Charlie Ergen and Dish. Some people, I won't say any names, have even doubted what he would be doing with these types of notes and money, going all in Vegas at the betting tables. $2 billion to Vegas. Yeah, man. I don't know, Dan. I don't know how T-Mobile's going to play their cards on the C-band piece. I'm not sure. We'll have to see because their emphasis obviously is the 2.5 gigahertz, but they will fill some gaps and add some capacity with C-band, that's for sure. They did the same thing with the CBRS in the auction over the summer, so sure, could see that. All right, so that kind of wraps up the Dish thing. There's not much really there, just to know that they're trying to generate some revenue, which is good. All right, next piece of news. Let's talk about this T-Mobile prepaid data-only plans for their tablets and their hotspots. Let me just start this off by saying, I think that the data-only hotspots and tablets, right, these prepaid offers, I think they're fantastic. Hey, Jose, good to see you, man. I think the deals are great. I think there's tons of value. And the fact that it's also going to leverage, you know, both 5G connections. We're talking about 2.5 gigahertz and 41. We're talking about, you know, 600 megahertz, band 71. In some places, you know, there are going to be customers that are going to want to use one of these plans as kind of replacing their home internet in a way, connecting laptops and tablets and so on, maybe some phones, you never know. Anyways, T-Mobile sweetened the pot. They made the plans better, which is great. What T-Mobile did was they got rid of some old, outdated plans that didn't have great value. Honestly, there was not much value in it. T-Mobile actually, the marketplace actually doesn't have good value for mobile hotspot plans and tablet plans. The tablet plans are fine, but the mobile hotspot is just not there. The old plans, they're done. They're terminated. There used to be a $25 plan, got you 6 gigs of data. They had a $55 plan, got you 14 gigs of data. They had a $70 plan that got you 18 gigs of data and an $85 plan that got you 22 gigs of data. None of that is good in my opinion. In my opinion, those plans suck. They're not good at all. All those plans go out the window, and here's the new ones. The $10 plan that gets you 2 gigs remains, so that one stays. But these new ones are tremendous. If you need something small, the $30 plan gets you 10 gigs. It's not bad. The $40 plan gets you 30 gigs. Now we're talking. That's a pretty good deal in my opinion. That's not bad. But the big one is the one that launched last week. Initially, we thought it was only going to be for postpaid. It actually is with prepaid. So all these plans that I'm describing, all these plans are prepaid options, which means you don't have to run a credit check. You don't have to use your SS. You don't have to do a soft pull on your credit. None of that. You pull up and you pay. And you got yourself 100 gigs of data for $50. So if you're a light home internet user, you might be able to pull this off. I mean, T-Mobile home internet's like $50 a month, right? If you auto pay. I think it's $55 if you don't auto pay. Right? It's limited in its space, geographical availability. So this might be something that you could get you by. You never know. You never know. I love the value that they brought to the table here. They fixed it. It wasn't good. Generally speaking, ladies and gentlemen, the hotspot plans with AT&T and Verizon and T-Mobile, they weren't good before. In fact, they were awful. Expect a move from AT&T and or Verizon. I think they're going to move on this. They've got to be more competitive. And I'm going to do a video on this, but you guys got to hear it from me first because I got to lay it out there. For those people out there that said that the T-Mobile and Sprint merger was going to result in a lack of competition, we have never seen wireless telecom compete for customers as aggressively as they are today. They're giving away Hulu. They're giving away Netflix. They're giving away Disney Plus, Apple Music, HBO Max. They're giving you everything for your business. And all they said before the merger was we're going to lose competition. We're losing a carrier. Look, in principle, they were right. But in execution and how it played out, they were wrong. When T-Mobile became a legitimate player and scaled, that made Verizon and AT&T had to move. Say what you want to say. Your opinions are valid, and I respect everyone's opinions, but it's never been more fierce in competition-wise in the wireless space. They are fighting for your business. T-Mobile is dying for more customers. Verizon is dying for more customers. AT&T is dying for more customers. You can't tell me otherwise. There's no way you could slice it. The promos are aggressive. They're giving away free lines. The phones are free. The plans have gotten cheaper. There's more features. There's more perks. There's more add-ons. What do you mean it got rid of competition? You can't justify that. You can't say it. You are wrong if you said that we lost competition. You know what's funny? Where are those people? The people that said that we were going to have a less competitive market, where are they now? Nowhere to be found. Not a peep. Like mice in the wall. They're gone. You don't hear them anymore, do you? Right? I have free Hulu, free Disney Plus, free Apple Music, and free ESPN Plus. And all of that happened post-merger. Netflix on us, the price keeps going up and T-Mobile keeps paying. What's up, Landon? We're winning. Now, I don't know what's going to happen in 3 to 5 years as the wireless capital investment continues to increase with 5G build-out. I don't know what's going to happen there. But as of right now, it's as competitive as it gets. Greg, good to see you, man. So I'll make a dedicated video because I'm going to call out the people that said that the merger was going to be bad for competition. Because they're quiet. I haven't heard from them in months. Where are they? Where's Letitia James? Where's Xavier Becerra, or Behera, whatever his name is? Where are the attorneys general now? The ones that were fighting the merger. All they did was delay T-Mobile from competing. Where are they? Nowhere to be found. Even the prepaid market is fiercely competing. Visible, T-Mobile, Cricket, they're still running their promos. Boost is now under a different ownership. They've rearranged a little bit. MVNOs are still fighting for business. What you mean? Where are the people that said that the T-Mobile and Sprint merger was going to lead to less competition? Where are you? We are here. The SMT Patreon, the SMT YouTube community, we are right here. We are calling you out and you are nowhere to be found. Crickets. Exactly, Sebby. That's all I'm saying. That's right. That's right, Dan. They were wrong. But they won't admit it, and now they're quiet. The cat's got their tongue. See, that's what you guys got to understand, the things that I go through as a creator. When people are just talking smack in these comment sections, they just talk out of their backside. They don't know. Right? And the competition for networking is going to increase. The technology is going to get better. They're going to continue to fight for their business. I just had to do that. I had to. All right. Next up. This story out of Verizon. So here's the story. The question is framed. Is Verizon and their 4G LTE advantage going to be the reason that Verizon wins 5G? That was the question, and that's the way it's framed. Is Verizon's 4G LTE dominance the reason why they're going to win 5G? Verizon Network Insight coming from Verizon's Senior Vice President of Technology, Adam Qais. Hope I said that right. No disrespect intended. He claims that Verizon's dominant LTE position gives them an advantage in 5G. He also says that this will be a big part of the 5G structure strategy. So basically, because their current infrastructure, their tower grid, and their success and dominance in 4G LTE is so far ahead and superior than the others, it will continue to be the reason why they stay ahead, or they get ahead in 5G. We also got some insight from this man, Adam Qais. He confirmed a few things. Number one, they will be doing CBRS. Hey, Firewolf Studios, good to see you. He confirmed CBRS will be deployed in small cells and in indoor applications. And they will spend $2 billion next year in investments for this piece of the network. CBRS is going to be a big piece of what they do next year. Confirmed. I said it would be. It is. It has to be. Right? They invested big money in the spectrum. They spent a lot of money on it. They're going to deploy it. They're going to do it from small cells. They're going to do it from indoor solutions. And they're going to do it at macro sites too. I've tested it for macro sites. My patrons know. The second thing he confirmed. DSS will be a big part of what they do with midband. Here it is, guys. You heard it first from the SMT. They will be DSSing AWS and PCS next year full scale. They also mentioned 850 megahertz, which is band 5. They also mentioned 700 megahertz band 13. Both are being DSSed for low band 5G. The band 13 is interesting. They'll be broadcasting that as DSS 5G, and the same thing with the 850 megahertz, which they're doing now. Confirmed. The SVP of technology of Verizon, Adam Qais, stated, T-Mobile's 2.5 gigahertz mid-band advantage, he says it's a little bit overstated. Now, I've said that in the past too. But it's different when I say it than when the Verizon guy says it. So here's what I mean. When a guy from Verizon says it, you just assume it's marketing, right? They're trying to downplay the other carrier because they're trying to build theirs up. I don't have a dog in the fight, so I can objectively say whatever I want. Nobody's cutting me a check, right? So I can call it like it is. But I have to disagree with him. They are your competition. You better not believe what you're saying. You have to pretend like you're always catching up if you're going to be great. This is what I learned as an athlete. This is what I learned as a student. This is what I learned in the workplace. You always have to be hungry. You always have to fight as if you're losing. You always have to pretend or at least act and feel like you're fighting from behind, the underdog, because you fight harder. You're scrappier. You'll scrape and you'll claw. That's how Verizon needs to be if they're going to keep their lead as the dominant wireless provider. The moment you know you're the best and you start to lax, that's when you start to fall back. So I can't agree with what he said in trying to downplay, T-Mobile's 5G mid-band position. If T-Mobile does it right, it's a game changer. It's yet to be seen, but we're seeing large-scale deployments and upgrades in certain markets. So they're doing it right in some places. It's not very good here, I ain't going to lie. They've got some fiber upgrades that need to happen. I mean, it's just, they sorely need it. But potentially, and you have to call it like it is, right? You have to call it potential. I have to say it that way. It's not fair if I don't acknowledge that T-Mobile has a lot of mid-band. I have to call it like that. It's true. They have a lot. Potentially for T-Mobile, it's a game changer. What T-Mobile does in the next 16 months is going to dictate their success in 5G for the next 5 years. The most important 16 months in the history of T-Mobile started in April. Right? So I say all that to say that I don't like what he said about T-Mobile, but he's going to have to back that up. The third thing he spoke to was millimeter wave, ultra wideband, and the ambitions of what they want to do with this particular piece of the network. Again, you heard it first here on the SMT Podcast. Verizon is going to do peak speeds of 10 gigabits per second on ultra wideband next year. The SVP of Technology, Adam Keepy, was quoted as saying they are going to have 10 gigabits per second in wireless and mobility. He said that the amount of data that they are going to be able to transmit over their network is going to be so massive, it's going to exceed 10 terabytes per second per square mile. We're talking about like data center amounts here. And he says they're going to do it with reliability, and we're going to do it with the lowest latency. He's so confident in his LTE network and the current state of their network overall that he thinks that they're going to continue to dominate even if T-Mobile has all of that spectrum. He never mentioned AT&T, but he did mention the T-Mobile. I think they're asked about T-Mobile. So anyways, can we talk about 10 gigabits per second of mobility for a second, please? This is insane. Okay, so I can't get 100 megabits per second reliably at my house with Cox, and Verizon is talking about doing 10 gigabits per second from their nodes. That's 5 times faster than the average speeds in the CLE currently for ultra-wideband. We're consistently around 2 gigs per second. Carlos is getting 3.5 gigs per second in Vegas and San Diego and whatever else. Okay, he's testing everywhere. Phoenix. They're going to double and triple that. And 5 times the capacity. It's incredible. Here's how they're going to do it. Verizon is going to combine 2 carrier aggregation using millimeter wave. They've already gone from 100 megahertz to 200 megahertz of concentration for bandwidth. They did that last year. They've gone from 200 to 400 megahertz this year at the start of the year. And in some markets, they've already gone from 400 megahertz to 800 in testing. That's where you're starting to see, the 3 and 4 gigs per second. Ladies and gentlemen, they are going to combine their 39 gigahertz N261, and they're going to combine that with their 28 gigahertz N260, and they're going to create a 1200 megahertz millimeter wave connection. My goodness. 1200 megahertz. They're going to aggregate those two things together. It's going to be 10 gigabits per second. This is crazy. Okay, so they've already said, and he was quoted as saying, it's more than just about smartphones. They have their eyes on the prize. T-Mobile is going to dominate consumer wireless in a lot of markets. I've already said that, right? Verizon is going to dominate enterprise, and nobody's even close. AT&T looks like they're kind of going all in with the government contracts, the government agencies, the FBI, the DOJ, the whole shebang, right? Verizon is going all in with enterprise. It's not that they're giving up on consumer. It's just that they know that they're kind of right where they need to be in consumer. They don't want to lose customers, but that's not their focus. Their focus is enterprise. They're going to win there. All that whole like AR, VR situation, the Walmart, the healthcare facilities, they've got all that on lock. And that's how they're going to do it. They're going to do it with this. They're going to do it with millimeter wave. Man. Verizon winning with that ultra wideband. It doesn't matter how you feel about millimeter wave when all the other companies are all in. Been trying to get people to understand that for a while. So we talked C-band, Spectrum Auction 107. We talked the T-Mobile prepaid, the plans, the 5G plans, right? What else did we have? What else? We talked about Verizon, and we talked about Dish. All right, let's talk about what Neville was saying the other day. All right, Neville. Oh, Neville. All right, let me say this about Neville Ray. Neville Ray, he kind of has to do this thing where he talks a lot, right? Neville Ray's kind of puts on a show. It's just this thing that happens, in telecom. They don't have to tell the truth. They're marketing their company. They're not going to always tell you the truth. In fact, they mostly don't. But T-Mobile's probably the most guilty of this. It started with John Leisure, right? And then, that's right, sheep, that's right. Started with John Leisure. It spilled over. It's still a part of the company's culture and the fabric of them and all that. So whatever. Anyways, here's what I'm excited about next year based on what he was saying, Neville, at the Oppenheimer conference or whatever, the 5G summit. The first thing he talked about was carrier aggregation in 5G. This is huge. N71 600 megahertz, N41 2.5 gigahertz. He's talking about it as soon as Q1 2021. It looks like they are ready to do it. The holdup is the hardware, which means it's the Qualcomm Snapdragon X60 modem, right? That'll be in the new SoC, the Qualcomm Snapdragon 888. Once that's there, they can do it. So for the first time in a long time, the phones are what's holding up the technology from the network side. So that'll be cool. He did say that the rollout might be staggered. I'm assuming that that's because of like the phone deployments or whatever. We'll see how that goes. Voice over NR, he's excited about that, but he was kind of bullish about when he was going to be offering it, so he didn't want to give a concrete date. That's probably later in the year. The ongoing network upgrades, he spoke about the 600 megahertz, the low band. He spoke about the 2.5 gigahertz, the mid band. He said they're at 1,000 sites per week that are being upgraded at some level, whether it's modernizations or it's receiving added carriers or 5G upgrades. They want to have 100 million people by the end of this year. There's only a couple weeks left. And then he wants to get to 200 million people by the end of next year. Either way, they're both lofty goals. We're rooting for them. We'd like to see that happen. You know, consumers taking advantage of, you know, awesome capacity sounds like fun for me. So I'm with it. He said that average speeds on N41 are 300 megabits per second. That's not the case here in the CLE. It's probably closer to like 225 or 250. He said expect closer to 400 megabits per second by year's end. No way. Not here. I'm guessing that in some markets they've done it right and they've upgraded everything that they need to make the speeds and capacity better. But in the CLE, that is not the case. Averages are closer to 225 to 250. There's no way they're getting to 400 by the end of the year either. Not unless they upgrade some really serious hardware. The backhaul fiber upgrades are going to have to come, guys. The expensive part of this network is going to be this. They don't own and operate their own fiber in most cases. I know everybody says, oh, but they got SprintNet and all that. That's in very select places. There's not much. So pump the brakes on the SprintNet. They've been avoiding it for now. They're going to have to get to it at least within the next year, or else all these upgrades are kind of for nothing. It's kind of like having a Ferrari with no gas, you know, just sitting in the garage. So they're going to have to upgrade the fiber backhaul. They really do need to, you know, give it the juice, as they say. Because they want to boost it from 60 megahertz to 80. They want to boost it from 80 to 100 megahertz, and all that's great, but you're going to need the fiber optic. You're going to have to do the backhaul, you know. I'm excited about the carrier aggregation piece. That's going to add a lot of speed and capacity. That's what the merger is really about, right? Combining the low band with the mid band. Low band from T-Mobile, mid band from Sprint. So that's cool. The voice over NR, we'll see. Voice over LTE on T-Mobile is not very good, so we'll hope that that's better. Give them a chance. If they're really ahead in the voice over NR, they can give them a chance to, you know, pull ahead and make that their calling card, literally, right? The fiber upgrades are going to be important if they're going to really do the N41 piece right. We'll see what happens. I'm tracking it. All right, y'all. Public service announcement. Public service announcement. Thanks, Landon. Appreciate the update on that. He said the Sprint link is worldwide, but mostly server level, not last mile fiber, right? That's the hard part. All right, y'all. This is public service announcements. Okay. Item number 1. For those of you that have Visible or are thinking about getting Visible as a service, please make sure you understand what your expectations should be. When you get a Visible line, Visible is a prepaid MVNO / prepaid carrier of Verizon. It's not postpaid. I think, you know, like people that are sharing like speed tests that are really slow, that sucks. But there's a couple of problems with Visible. One of them is that Visible is a bottom of the totem pole carrier because they get really low level priority. And in some cases, Verizon's network is congested in some markets. People show me the screenshots. I've seen it. Because of that, it's really hard to expect anything beyond serviceable. If you have Visible and your speeds are fast, you're lucky. That's unlikely to be the case. Like Verizon must have a very strong network there, right? The priority for Visible is so low, you just can't expect much. So in that case, you might want to consider a different option if you're looking for something that has a little bit more capacity. For example, I would recommend AT&T prepaid. You're going to have higher priority. You're going to have higher capacity. The other part about Visible is the cost. Like it's $25 if you're on a party pay. I mean, look, Visible is a great secondary line. It really can't be beat as a secondary line. You get unlimited tethering and hotspot, like legit. I think it's capped at 5 megabits per second, but it's good, right? Nothing is counted. It's all unlimited. And it's only LTE and 5G. I mean, it doesn't have 3G, CDMA, or any of the older technologies, which may be an issue if you're roaming or whatever. You don't get roaming partners and stuff like that. But, I mean, for $25, it's a great value. Just, I think your expectations have to be tempered. I'm not taking a shot at anybody. This is just a public service announcement. I just want to frame it so everybody has the right understanding of what they should be getting. Visible is a great secondary option. If you're using it as a primary, your expectations have to be tempered. You know what I'm saying? I like Visible. I use it for live streaming sometimes. That's how good it is in the CLE, but it's not like that everywhere. So you have to be mindful of that. Just make sure that it's a little bit more realistic in what you expect. All right. Next public service announcement. If you are an SMT patron, there's a video I just posted. I also posted some pictures and gave a little bit of a description on some CBRS testing. Band 48, 3.5 gigahertz. I tested it, the unlicensed variant. More licensed spectrum is coming to the marketplace next year. What I will tell you about CBRS, it is absolutely tremendous. CBRS offers great throughput. It's fast. It's currently low power. It's not transmitting at high enough power to really be effectively used by macro sites. You could, but it doesn't have much range because it's low power. It's going to get shifted over to a high power solution. They'll be deploying from macro sites, rooftops, small cells, the whole shebang. CBRS is fast. And what Verizon is doing is they are doing 20, 20, 20. 20 megahertz, 3 channels of it for 60 megahertz total. Plus, they're doing 2 more carriers for 5 carrier aggregation with another 20, 1.9 gigahertz and another 20, 2.3 gigahertz. Or 2.1 gigahertz, excuse me. That's 100 megahertz. And it's fast. So I want to give you guys some perspective. 60 megahertz of low power CBRS is today testing faster than T-Mobile's 2.5 gigahertz at a 60 megahertz channel. And the CBRS is low power and the 2.5 gigahertz is high power. I'm more encouraged by the CBRS unlicensed than I am by the 2.5 gigahertz of the licensed because T-Mobile hasn't upgraded their backhaul and they haven't optimized the network well enough yet. So as of right now, I'm happy that CBRS is overachieving. Meanwhile, T-Mobile's 2.5 gigahertz is underachieving in my market. So 2 totally different experiences. The 2.5 gigahertz needs to be better than CBRS. It has to be. It's supposed to propagate better. It's supposed to travel further. You know, all those things. I mean, it's high power. It's a lower signal, frequency-wise. It should be performing better, and it's not. So, whatever. Better range, but we have to see what happens. But let me tell you guys something. I tested CBRS in the middle of Corn Country, Ohio. I saw it in downtown Cleveland. It's really good. It's going to be a big part of what T-Mobile does too, because they bought some. And Verizon bought a lot. Big markets where they're getting 30 and 40 megahertz. What's up, Alpha? My friend Alpha Rakama, good to see you, man. Thanks for stopping by, brother. Thank you for supporting and being here. So that's my public service announcement about CBRS and Visible. My last PSA. Hear me out, y'all. The phone of the year. It's not the Galaxy S20. It's not the S20 Plus. It's not the Note Ultra. It's not the LG V60. It's not the Fold. It's none of those things. The phone of the year is the Apple iPhone 12. Pick it. The 12, the 12 Pro, the 12 Pro Max, the 12 Mini, whatever you got. The iPhone of the year, the phone of the year is the iPhone 12. And it's not even close. It's not even close. I really love my Moto Edge Plus. It can't hold a candle to the iPhone 12 Pro. I'm sorry to everybody out here who loves their Androids to the point where they're ready to fight me and throw spears at me. I'm sorry. The phone of the year is the iPhone 12, and it's not even close. Nothing came close. I've had my iPhone 12 Pro for 1 day. I've tested 10 phones this year. The Google Pixel 4a, the Google Pixel 5, the Note 10 Plus 5G, the Note 20, the Note 20 Ultra, the S20 Plus. I love my S20 Plus. It is a great phone. That is the second best phone of the year. The best phone of 2020 is, you pick it, any model of the iPhone 12. And it's not even close. The only real problem the iPhone has had... What's up, Philip? Good to see you, man. Hey, Sean. The only problem that the iPhone has had for the last several years has been its cellular performance. You had to buy the CDMA version to get a Qualcomm chipset, or a Qualcomm modem, I should say. The iPhone X had a Qualcomm variation. That means the XS, XS Max, 11, 11 Pro, the XR, all those were all Intel. Junk. The cellular modems that were Intel-based in any iPhone ever were garbage. Absolute trash. My iPhone XS Max, there was a part on my way to work, if I was live streaming, I would disconnect. My Note 10 Plus never disconnected. That's how I knew it was the modem. The iPhone 12 fixed the only real problem that the iPhone has, and it was the cellular modem. It's fixed. The phone of the year is the iPhone. Anything and everything you need to do with a phone, it has it in spades. Need an ecosystem? They got it. You need cloud storage? They got it. You need a store? You need an Apple Care? You need reliable app functionality. You need a thorough app store. You need support. You need financing. You need a proven track record of updates. They're the only phone company that can offer that, and they give it to you in the iPhone. The only problem it had was the cellular modems, and they put the Qualcomm Snapdragon X55 chip modem in there. It's over. It's done. It's done. The only thing that really kept me from using an iPhone was the cellular modems. They got it right finally. I used that iPhone in testing today, and you know what I learned? When I was testing CBRS, my Moto Edge Plus was getting about 300 megabits per second. My iPhone 12 Pro was getting over 400. The RSRP and the signal strength in the iPhone was better. In the lab, in the car, downtown, on the highway, it's just functioning better. The one advantage that Android has always had in network testing, the reason why that RootMetrics and OpenSignal and all these third-party companies that test the networks, they always use Galaxies. They don't have to anymore. In fact, if I was RootMetrics, if I was OpenSignal, I would discontinue using all things Galaxy and just use iPhone 12s. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. The one thing that Android has in an advantage was cellular, and that advantage is gone. Truth be told, The Google Pixels have the best software experience. Truth be told, the best experience on a smartphone is the Google Pixel. That is the truth. It is flawless, it is reliable, it is enjoyable. And everything makes sense and is easy. It's better than iOS. But the cellular performance on the iPhone 12 is impeccable. Absolutely tremendous. The millimeter wave tests better. The sub 6 gigahertz tests better. The DSS tests better. The speeds, the reliability, it's just better. Just calling a spade. Not on some racist stuff. But you call it like you see it. The best operating system, the best smartphone experience is a Google Pixel. But the best cellular performing device right now is the iPhone 12. Pick it. If you don't like it, sucks to suck. Oh, man, what a show. I can't wait for you guys to watch this. All right, y'all. That's going to wrap it up for today. I want to thank everybody for watching. Thank you so much for being here. Give this video a like and a share. Thank you for stopping by. Everybody who commented, everybody who donated, you guys are the best. Thank you for being a part of the SMT Nation. Please do me a solid. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Share this to your favorite social media platforms. Go ahead and drop me a line in the comment section if you're watching this on replay. If you agree or disagree with anything, I don't care. It's all good. Do what you do. Let's go ahead and do our hashtags. Hashtag 2LiveCrew if you watch this in the live. Hashtag Mod Squad if you got a big blue wrench. Thank you for holding it down for me and protecting the good in the SMT Nation. Hashtag Replay Crew. Hashtag Ravioli Gang if you're watching this while you're eating dinner or if you're hungry. And yeah, let's go ahead and get out of here, shall we? Yeah. All right. Thank you again for watching. I do want to remind you, if you are new to the channel, consider subscribing. Maybe it's your first time here. Activate the bell notification icon so you never miss an upload from the SMT. Consider checking out the Patreon page. We got a link in the description box down below. If you want to become a part of the SMT Patreon, we've got donation tiers ranging from $1 to $5 to get you extra access to all the things that we do on the channel. We just take it to the next level and build a little community within the community. So we'd be excited to have you. Welcome to all the new SMT Patreon supporters, and we welcome more of you if you would like to join. So check us out. We got a link in the description box below. I'll leave it at that. I wish you all wealth. I wish you all health. That's it for this one. Thanks again for being here, and we hope to see you soon on the next podcast and the next video. Peace.